Strowman medal.
The Norm Smith medal.
Brownlow medal
Is Jimmy Bartell.
Matthew Lloyd.
Already 2 games out of the top 8. It's a final in May for the Richmond Football Club when they take on Geelong, Jimmy, at the MCG on Friday night. And it's about how Richmond can win this game of football. And I think they have to get back to how they used to be at their greatest when they won flags. And this was when they ran in waves. So let's take a look at how high their forwards press up to defend. We'll see this one, Jack Graham. So he's in a position to defend and they stream hard forward. That's what used to trouble so many teams. The Richmond high half forwards getting back to defend and then getting forward to attack. So can a lot of these players get back to their best along with the youth? This one is Bolton. I know it's the West Coast Eagles, but here's the barometer. Richmond's best player. And look how high he gets. But then can they work hard and try and turn some of these Geelong defenders inside out?
Yeah, Lloyd, you're picking up what I think Richmond need to do to really challenge Geelong. And part of that is what you're showing here. But then it's pressing forward and inside forward 50s and hitting the scoreboard. Last week, I know they were playing against the West Coast Eagles, who are short on a lot of numbers. But Bolton, Prestia, who will highlight here from the midfield, Martin, Taranto and Hopper, 10 goals between them. But look at this. This is pressing in and asking questions of the opposition and forcing them to come with you. They'll need to do this against Geelong, whether it be Max Holmes and the other midfielders of the Cats. Get in forward because that actually starts your first line of defence. So if you don't win this, this is how Richmond won premierships. Front half turnovers, and you can only do that by transitioning, watching the play. This is Hopper this time, coming through the middle of the ground. You're still pushing in, you're not taking a rest, sitting back. You're still live in the contest. Bolton finds him, nice little sidestep, and it's scoreboard pressure on the opposition.
Great vision, Jim. Geelong have won 5 games in a row. I want to highlight one stat in particular where they are dominant, and that is inside 50. So inside 50 marks. So they've taken 95 marks to the opposition's 51, only being beaten by the Crows last week. I want to highlight how some of these players have played together for so long and how Duncan looks after Tommy Hawkins. So you see here. So I want to this one, Mitch Duncan. Guthrie gets out of the way so he can lower the eyes to Tommy Hawkins. But then also watch Brian Myers, the work he's putting in for Tom Hawkins to get that space. Other players don't work for each other like that in the forward line. It's why they take so many marks. And the way he lowers his eyes, it's a masterclass.
Over Tom Hawkins, 700 goals. I think Mitch has kicked probably about 600 of the balls to him. But it's attention to detail, and this is where it could hurt Richmond. Noah Bolter gets a little bit lost sometimes in transition. We've highlighted this one a few weeks ago. You can't stand this far off Jeremy Cameron or Tom Hawkins or whoever his matchup will be. Again, too much space for the big guys to come jump in as well. So he's got to keep his arm across because in one-on-one contests at the moment, he's getting a little bit lost. I know he's trying to be proactive, but against the Cats forwards, arm across, use your athleticism and bring the ball to ground.
Do you give the Tigers any chance?
I do give them a chance, but I think the Cats with the 2 big forwards at the moment were just a bit too good.
I agree with that. Carlton and the Western Bulldogs, we're looking at, again, where Carlton can have some hope. And the hope is that Curnow and Mackay destroy the Western Bulldogs every time they play. Look at some of these stats. So the most goals Curnow's ever kicked against any club is the Western Bulldogs. He's kicked 7 and 5 the last 2 times these teams have met. Mackay, second most goals of any club is the Western Bulldogs, and he's averaged 4 goals in his last 3 meetings. But Liam Jones has joined the club, and I think he'll take on Curnow, and what a matchup he is, and he's been in stellar form this year.
And would you encourage him, Lloydie, to keep backing himself, or would you be locked on, like last week Jackson Payne was on Curnow? Would you tell him to still play this way or be a little bit tighter?
No, he's got to play this way. I think that's how Liam Jones is at his best, and he protects other teammates a lot like Darcy Moore does, and this is why they brought him to the club for big nights like this.
So I'm going to focus on Carlton's midfield here. And Patrick Cripps, I know he's copping a lot of heat, but what he needs is someone who's a little bit explosive or creative or get on the move. At the moment with Cripps, Kennedy, Hewitt, Cherrett, they're a little bit one-dimensional. And we highlighted this in the game against the Adelaide Crows. You look at premiership teams and teams that have been near the top of the ladder in recent times. Dynamic takes the game on. Dynamic moves forward. These 2 are doing it at the moment, although he's just become injured. Cameron and Bailey come through the stoppage, and these 2, Martin and Bolton, have been doing it at recent times. Can it be trying to just change Walsh's role a little bit through the midfield? Be proactive, come through the front of the stoppage. If not, bring up one of the young small forwards because you can cover them off with your wing or your inside mids. Will actually frank a lot of the work that Cripps is doing on the inside. You've got to get on the move and ask some questions of the opposition.
So you think Walsh is the one?
I think Walsh, because he has that natural capability to see his way through traffic. He's already up around the ball. But like I was saying, if it's not, bring one of these smaller forwards up. They only stay there at the stoppage and then move through.
I can't trust the Blues. I'm tipping the Dogs.
I'm with you. I think the Dogs are playing some good footy.
The Bombers take on the Brisbane Lions up at the Gabba, and what a job Dunkley did. What a recruit he's been for Brisbane on what he did with Patrick Cripps. So I want to highlight here how he just grabs him. He just doesn't give him any room whatsoever, and even this one. Kennedy, you think he's going to give him some help, but he doesn't in the end. Carlton don't support Cripps well, but it's about Dunkley here and the job he does. He had 33 disposals as well on the night to be best on ground. He'll get the 3 Brownlow votes. Grabbing the arm of Cripps as well. So why I'm highlighting Dunkley is I think you're setting for Zach Merritt, because I think Zach Merritt is the key to Essendon. If you can stop Zach Merritt, Jim, you win the game. And how is he the best kick in the game, Merritt? Have a look at some of these highlights.
He kicks absolute lasers. He knows how to kick the touch kick. He's got penetration on his kick. He's got power. And I love this. Get forward, get the handball received, hit the scoreboard. I want to highlight for the Brisbane Lions, Jackson Payne, who I mentioned just before, hasn't lost a one-on-one marking contest this year. And even though his form has been brilliant, what it's going to allow Brisbane to do, especially in the finals, is free up Harris Andrews. We know he's a great interceptor of the footy. And so if you're forward scouting against the Lions coming into big games and finals, is how can we take Harris Andrews up out of the play? If you've got a guy behind you who's been playing the role since Marcus Adams has been out, can take the best opposition forward, you've created another weapon behind the ball in Harris Andrews. So I think his partnership is going to help Brisbane go a long way this year.
Yeah, he's one of the most improved players in the game. The last one we'll look at is Adelaide v St Kilda. We want to look at the scoring profile, the premiership profile of all premiership sides and where the Saints are down. So as well as they're going, so this is where you've got to be top 4 in both areas. So you can see Geelong 3rd and 3rd, Melbourne 1st and 5th, Richmond 2nd and 5th, and the Saints, they're the 12th best scoring side. And can King make the difference? So whether he plays this week or not, it'll take him 6 weeks to get going, but he kicked 6 goals and destroyed the Crows in this corresponding game last year.
What will be the hardest thing? You've been out for 8 weeks before. What is the hardest thing coming back as a key forward to adjust back to?
I think it's your timing. So as a midfielder, you can just step in and you can find your way running around, but you do find you run under the ball a fair bit as that key forward.
Yeah, look, I think the Crows just at home. I think they play great footy at home. They're a couple of goals better over there, but I think it's going to come down to the wire against the Saints.
I think the Crows as well, Ed.